Shalom, welcome to my channel, The Hebrew Bible. This is Moses Gumadi, and in this video we'll talk about the Leviathan or Leviathan, the sea monster that's found in the Bible. We'll talk about this, we'll talk about Egypt, we'll talk about chaos, the forces of chaos, and also we'll talk about the Ugaritic concept of Leviathan or Lothan, etc. very briefly. So let's go over it. The first verse that we would like to read is Job chapter 41, verses 1 to 2. We read here, Timshoch Leviathan bechaka, uhevel tashkia leshono. Can you draw out a Leviathan with a hook, or his tongue with a cord, with a rope, which you would let it down? So essentially the questions are, again, can you put a hook into his nose, bore his jaw through a thorn? So the point is, can you really tame this monster beast called Leviathan? In Hebrew, of course, it is Leviathan. In English, it is translated as Leviathan. And it's basically a sea monster or a dragon. And well, the question is it real? Is it mythical? Is it metaphorical? What is it? Or is it natural? This word comes from the word lava, which means to join or to be joined, depending on how it is conjugated. Also, it also means to coil or to be twisted, etc. Now, the twisting word or the coiled word comes from actually Ugaritic. In Ugaritic language, a sister language of Hebrew, one of the ancient Near Eastern languages, the word that is equivalent to Leviathan or Leviathan is recognized by the scholars as the word Lothan. Lothan eventually transformed, or Leviathan was approximated. Either way, both are equivalent, and it means coiled or twisted. Right, so if you read Job chapter 41, God asks a lot of questions to Job about, hey, can you do this, can you do that, etc. So what is he essentially asking? I mean, is a man expected to tame the beast like this? What is it that Job can do or cannot do, and how are these questions relevant to his situation, etc. Is something that obviously we have to think about. So the characteristics of this Leviathan or Leviathan in that chapter 41. In Hebrew, of course, it begins in chapter 40. If I go back again, so in chapter 40, 25 to 26 is where this begins, but in the English Bibles and the Christian Bibles, we have it in 41 onwards. So essentially, this beast, Leviathan, is portrayed as an unconquerable beast. You can't tame it, you can't draw it. No one can stir it up. If you stir it up, it'll get uncontrollable. And it has a massive, imposing anatomy. Its teeth, his teeth are terrible. His back has rows of shields, etc. His scales are tightly sealed. It's like a body armor it has around it, and it puts out a fiery breath, nostrils from its nostrils, etc. Flames go out, smoke from the nostrils, from the mouth, fire, and it has a heart of stone, and the movements are fearsome. It raises up very quickly. And there's no one like it, and he is the king over all the proud creatures. So looking at all these descriptions of this animal, I think it is very unlikely that it is a physical animal. However, we have in the book of Psalms 104, 26 to 27, we read, Sham oniot yehallechun Leviathan ze yatzarta, where he says, there go the ships. If you read the previous verse, we're talking about the wide ocean. There go the ships. There is that Leviathan whom you have made to play within it, play therein. And I put this next verse because it says that Kulam Elech. Okay, they all go Yeshoverun Latet Ochla. Ochlam. The Ochlam is their food. Be'ito, in their time. Right? So God gives, they all wait upon God so that they may receive their meat, their food in due season. And Leviathan is also included within, there go the ships, Oniot. Now, it appears that this is a physical beast. It well might have been, like, for example, it might be a plesiosaur or a massive crocodile or prehistoric crocodile or whale or something, some dangerous animal, clearly. Maybe plesiosaur. I don't know if that's how it is pronounced, or maybe there is this old dinosaur, some of a dinosaur family, but a water monster, essentially. We do not know if it is extinct or it's still there. God only knows. But it appears that there's no real creature that breathes fire, but still this is depicted in various cultures, including China, the Chinese dragon. So is it a literal animal? A bit unlikely. Symbolic, mythical, highly likely, though we can't rule out that there was no equivalent physical animal. It was probably there, but it was like, they added up and made it a bit more mythical rather than actual, to show a spiritual truth and a theological point that God has power over the forces of chaos and evil. I think that's what it is all about. The forces of chaos are essentially powerful and unpredictable. The point that really distinguishes the term chaos is that you can't predict it. It's not orderly, and so that's what it is. Some of the earthly examples of this thing are like hurricanes, tornadoes, lightning storms, earthquakes, volcanoes, microbursts, forest fires, etc. All these things are a bit difficult to predict. Even using physics, they are very difficult to model. You do not know how they're going to behave. You can probably sometimes give a little bit rough estimate of how they might progress, but again, in the case of hurricanes, that's also because there are satellites which are taking pictures and they are taking and they predict the path. But really, within the hurricane, the dynamics of it is completely unpredictable and chaotic. If there is a ship there, it's gone. So that's what we're trying to talk about. So these are the forces of nature which are unpredictable, they cause havoc. But also there are other forces, other chaotic forces, such as, like, within the person, within the man, we have chaotic neural activity. We have all kinds of brain neural problems that people have. Epilepsy, for example. We have heart arrhythmia, which can go out of. We have a regular heartbeat, but things can go wrong, and arrhythmia means essentially there's no control. Unpredictable behavior of the rhythm of the heart. We also have crowd behavior, mob mentality, where an individual, behaves in a different way than how he's supposed to, etc. Stock market fluctuations, supply chain disruptions, all these are examples of chaotic, unpredictable behavior. So there are also cosmic forces that are unpredictable and, chaotic, which perhaps is what is being represented by this Leviathan or Leviathan, although they might have been a physical animal of which is an approximated form of that particular animal. Now here you see the Lord taming this animal, and in fact even breaking the heads of the animals. And here we read, Ata forarta be ozne Ata forarta ve ozencha, right? Yam. So Yam is the sea, right? Shibarta reshe taninim. So you'll break the heads of the Tanninim. Tanninim is the word that we looked at in our previous video about the Nachash and the Tannin, etc., between of the rod of Moses, rod of Aaron, etc., in the previous video. But here we read about the Roshe Leviathan, the heads of Leviathan. He would break in pieces and give them to be meat for the people inhabiting the wilderness. And this Leviathan is mentioned also. Tannin, or dragons of the waters, are also mentioned here. In the book of Isaiah chapter 27, we read, Bayom hahu, in that day, yifkod Adonai becharo, and he will, well, he's going to attack, he is going to kill, punish the Leviathan, Hakkasha, Haggedola, Chazak is the root, Chazaka, Al Leviathan, Nachash Bariach, Ve'al Leviathan, Nachash Akallathon. Okay, so here we have again, Et Tannin Asher Bayam, so the dragon that is in the sea. We have three words, Leviathan, Nachash, and Tannin. Not that they are all the same, but then these three are used as descriptions of various aspects of generally the same thing, which is the forces of chaos, chaotic forces. Notice that when God says these things, He's going to destroy break the heads of the Leviathan and the Tannin. He also identifies who it is in the book of Ezekiel chapter 29, where we read that Pharaoh, king of Egypt, Paro melech Mitzrayim, Hatannim Haggadol. So the great monster that lies in the midst of his rivers is Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. And Pharaoh also obviously is representative of the forces of chaos as far as the children of Israel are concerned. God creates order in chaos. So we saw this in Psalm 74, we saw this in Isaiah 27, and then again in Ezekiel 29. Pharaoh will be destroyed. He will put hooks in your jaws, he says. And that's the question that he raised to Job in chapter 41. And so essentially what God is doing is he's killing the chaos and creating ordered creation. In the book of Genesis chapter 2, we read that Veha arez hayata tohu vevohu vechoshek al pene tehom veruach Elohim merahefet al pene hamayim. Meaning that earth was without form and void, and the darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light. And thereafter we have an ordered creation from chaos, which was there in chapter 2. Similarly, the Exodus from Egypt to the promised land is also of a similar kind, where God is delivering from the bondage of Egypt into the promised land. I think there seems to be some sort of a parallel between both. I think that brings us to the end of this very short video about this animal or a monster beast called a Leviathan, which essentially is a cosmic force of chaos and evil, and only God can tame it and put hooks in its jaws, but with His help we can overcome it too, because He's on our side. That's what it is. Thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon, Also comment below, and I will see you again with another video as soon as I can. Thank you very much.